What's going on? It's Astronaut H, and this is the What More Do You Want Network. Now, in this video, I will be discussing the Denver Nuggets now that their season is over and have been eliminated in the Western Conference semifinals by the Oklahoma City Thunder. It's time to talk about what should the Nuggets do next season. Now, of course, we know Nikola Jokic played an absolutely phenomenal 24-25 campaign, a season in which he was, in the running for another MVP award. The Denver Nuggets, towards the end of the season had a shaky, I guess, inward, as far as what was going internally. So they elected to fire Mike Malone after a few years. So that was something that raised eyebrows, of course. But you look at the roster and you look at what they did as far as getting all the way to the second round with championship aspirations, but unfortunately that came not to be. You look at the play of guys like MPJ, who was dealing with an injury. You look at Jamal Murray, who was dealing with flu-like symptoms and things like that. You look at Aaron Gordon, who in Game 7 was dealing with a hamstring strain, but still tried to push through it and play. But unfortunately, they just did not have enough for Oklahoma City Thunder team who just played absolutely phenomenal. Now, you look at this Denver Nuggets team and you say to yourself, okay, Joker played great. He had another, just another season where you saying he could either be the best player in the league or maybe the second best player in the league. Now, you look at the rest of the roster, right? And you look at the pieces that are currently around Jokic and, dare I say, Jamal Murray, and you say to yourself, what can they do to be better next year? As long as you have Joker and Murray to go with Gordon and possibly MPJ, I don't know, if there will be some shakeups as far as rosters go with the Denver Nuggets, but if you look at the core of the guys that they have, that's a pretty good start, right? I like Christian Brown. I think he's pretty good. He had a good Game 7, in an absolute breakout Game 6 versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. But when I look at the rest of their roster, I don't know if that's a championship level roster. I don't know what the front office needs to do that's necessary going forward, right? Because you look at a team that when they did win the title, did have guys like KCP, did have guys like Bruce Brown, and honestly, off the bench, Russell Westbrook was a good option, but at times Russell Westbrook wasn't what they needed, right? Because sometimes Russell be, a little worse. In worst case scenario, it's Russell Westbrook. So you got to take the good with the bad. So in the same time, I think for the Nuggets, they need more consistency at the bench. They need, and honestly, I think they really need is another center to come off the bench and fill, I'm not going to say a scoring void, but at least be able to give them some viable minutes, because in them non-Joker minutes, it's a really telling story to what the Denver Nuggets are not able to do. You look at a team in the Thunder, when SGA goes to the bench, they're still a high level, high intensity team. So for the Nuggets, they have to figure out a way to remain, not teetering in the realms of when Joker is on the bench, now your team that had a 6-point lead is now down 10. You need guys that can come in and fill a role, especially for a team while Joker is basically in his prime and playing at an MVP level year after year after year. You win a championship, and then now it's like, can this team, who is just a few years removed from a championship, can they win a championship again before, they ultimately try to break up the core that did win them the championship. And for me, it starts at the top. It starts with, we know what Jokic is capable of. We know what Jamal Murray can do. Now, you look at MPJ, you look at guys like Aaron Gordon, Christian Brown. I think that's a more than formidable five right there. I think that's a good nucleus start. It's about what happens with the 6, 7, and possibly 8 man, because Watson is okay. You look at Strawther, he's okay. But outside of that, there's nobody I'm pointing to that make me say, well, there's a piece. There's a piece that you can lean on when your team is in need, right? When your team is in need of a bucket. And it showed. And it showed in the series. Aaron Gordon spoke to the media about a few things after the game, speaking on health and guys like that and having multiple rest days. And that could also be an issue, when you think about long series and drawn out games and physicality and just the overall aspect of high intensity basketball. I get what his point was, but you can't make no excuses. Guys have to play the same amount of games regardless. You have an 82 game regular season, and as well as long playoff stretches. Dare I say your team get that far, because the Nuggets didn't have it easy going into this series. But even though I did have the Oklahoma City Thunder winning this series, the Denver Nuggets definitely made it out to be competitive. And I think next year they're going to have to push some buttons and see how can they get the most out of, not only Jokic, but the rest of the team. I feel like that's what it is, because if Jokic is averaging 30 points, 15 rebounds and 12 assists and all of these insane numbers, you look at it in the realms of he's going to need a running mate. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Denver Nugget fan, NBA fans, basketball fans, or if this is just your first time tuning into the channel, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell to know anytime a video is being uploaded to this channel. It's Astronaut H. This is the What More Do You Want Network, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.